So, one of the many questions that we're asking leading up to this incredible showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, which Canelo Alvarez will show up? Please, before I start breaking this down and who do I believe which version of Canelo will show up, let me know in the comment section what's the best version of Canelo that you have ever seen? Because I'm going to tell you mine. The best Canelo I have ever seen, especially against a southpaw, was a couple of years ago when the great Canelo Alvarez broke the record of attendance when he fought Billy Joe Saunders, the rebel from the United Kingdom. That Canelo Alvarez, actually, that's the reason why I switched my pick again. This fight got announced, I was like, Canelo's winning this fight. Then last week, I was like, you know what? Crawford's gonna dominate this fight. And now, 2 days ago, I watched Canelo versus Billy Joe. I was like, what in the world am I thinking? This version of Canelo is unbeatable. And let me tell you this. A lot of people say that Canelo struggles against southpaws. Is that really the case? Canelo doesn't struggle versus southpaws. Canelo struggles with complete fighters, if you actually think about it. If you want to trouble Canelo, it's not like you just have to be a southpaw and you're going to give him trouble. Hell no. If you're going to give Canelo trouble, then you better be as complete as it gets, like Golovkin, like Bivol, you know. Golovkin and Bivol didn't trouble Canelo because they were southpaw. They weren't southpaws. They didn't trouble him because they had power. No, they troubled him because they had everything. And that is the only way to beat Canelo. Is you got to be a complete fighter on the night. And if you actually think about it, let's just go back to that version of Billy Joe versus Canelo. That body work that Canelo was doing with the left hook, the way that he was destroying Billy Joe's body. And actually, if you go back to my old videos, I broke down Billy Joe versus Canelo and I predicted that Canelo was not gonna knock out Billy Joe with an uppercut, because Billy Joe, after the first half of the fight, he's gonna gas out and start dipping to Canelo's power shot, which is the uppercut, and Canelo's gonna knock him out with an uppercut. And my goodness, was I right, on the dot. But that version of Canelo Alvarez shocked me, because I knew that Canelo was gonna win that fight, but I never ever thought that Canelo was gonna look that good. Especially fighting a southpaw, and especially fighting someone experienced as Billy Joe. Billy Joe does have a lot of experience, ladies and gentlemen, because he does have a few upset wins and he does have a few comeback from behind wins. And that speaks a lot about the character. Plus, Billy Joe is a well-known, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to cause any problems from any people, but let's be honest, Billy Joe, you know, the man tested positive for PEDs. The man's been known to be racist. The man's been known to, you know, a lot of controversial stuff. So it was a very satisfying beatdown. Let me just put it mildly. It was a very satisfying beatdown, not just because Canelo was and still is one of the best fighters in the world, but because of the character and personality of Billy Joe Saunders. It was a very satisfying beatdown. But getting back to the skill aspect of the fight, Canelo showed that night that he knows exactly how to fight a southpaw. And you will never see a fighter with 70 plus fights like Canelo, with all the experience, and you're going to tell me that he doesn't know how to fight a southpaw, and he doesn't know how to fight a power puncher or this or that. A guy like Canelo, at his stage, at the stage of his level, and a stage of his career, he knows how to fight any and every single style on any given night. Short notice, full camp, it doesn't matter. Small guy, big guy. But which Canelo Alvarez will show up? Does that Canelo Alvarez still exist? That deadly Canelo that fought Billy Joe? I don't know. But we're going to find out on the night. But let me tell you this. One thing is for certain. If 80% of that version of Canelo shows up versus Crawford, he's going to win this fight. No question in my mind. And if you actually look at Canelo's physique in that fight, he looked way lighter and way more chiseled than the version that fought Berlanga or Munguia or his last opponent, William Skull. But actually, That Munguia fight is so underrated. I believe that in Canelo's last 5 fights, the Ryder, Charlo, Munguia, Berlanga, and Skull, the Munguia performance was his best. Because Munguia, I compare him to William Zepera. The man is like a machine gun. The man has a great chin, unbelievable output, young, hungry, ambitious, and fearless. And Canelo dealt with him. And actually, I gave Munguia more than just a chance to beat Canelo. I was like, you know what? Canelo's last fight versus Charlo and Ryder didn't look too good. Munguia is on the rise. Munguia, and we saw now, Munguia now, he's suspended for PEDs. You know, shame on you, Munguia. I'm very disappointed in Jaime Munguia. He was one of my favorite fighters. Especially what he tested positive for. He didn't test positive for something that burns fat. Or he tested positive for, I believe, testosterone metabolites. That you can only inject, I believe, if you take them. So we're not talking about a fat burner. We're not talking about that. But nonetheless, I'm going off topic. But getting back to this unbelievable fight, which version of Canelo will show up? Who do you guys believe? Who do you guys believe? Which Canelo will show up? Tell me, let me know, let me know. I am dying to see this fight, and I cannot wait for it. And to be honest, the outcome of this fight, not just on who wins, but who wins and how they win, will all depend on which version of Canelo will show up. If the version of Canelo that fought William Skull will show up, the Canelo that's not interested, he will lose. But if the sharp and motivated and light and powerful and ambitious Canelo will show up, not only is he going to beat Crawford, but he's going to beat anyone on any given night. And that is a fact. So, I'll say it again, please let me know. Who do you think, which version of Canelo will show up for this fight? Because we know which Crawford will show up. But do we really know which Crawford will show up? Do we really know which Crawford will show up? We know that Crawford's more motivated than ever. He's hungrier than ever. He's bigger than ever. But he's also going to be slower than ever. And I'm going to make a separate video about that, which version of Crawford will show up. But the main question is this. The A-side, Canelo Alvarez, which version of Canelo will show up? Let me know, and God bless you, everyone.